Kunchanit has rightly pointed out, our next team is in the business of poking. So for the audience, our judges are scoring based on the business viability of the venture. Basically, they look at the market opportunity, the distinctive competency, the management capability, and most important, the investment potential, and then sustainability solutions. So, without further ado, our next team is from India, ENT Sim from Indian School of Business. Please give the team big hands of applause. Let me remind the team, you have 30 minutes for the presentation, at which the judges may ask questions after 5 minutes. And then you have 3 times warning from these ladies in front here. 1 after 5 minutes to allow for the interactive session to begin. And then 3 minutes and 1 minute before the end. For the audience, please turn off all your mobile devices and please do not leave the room. So, you ready? Okay, so we'll start the clock as soon as you start. Good luck.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here with my colleagues to present a plan on ENT SIM Asia. The team members are Aditya Singhal, Dr. Hanif Ladakh, who's the inventor of the platform, but unfortunately not here with us. Jaypreet Bindra, that's myself. Sanket Garimala, who is a colleague who's not here with us, and Sai Kiran Ravindran. So what is ENT developing? We have a ready-to-market technology with a 2.25 million potential for our diagnostic module and about $300 million annual for the surgery module. Growing at 8% are the colleges, medical colleges across Asia. There's a paradigm shift happening in ENT training. Right now, state-of-the-art is mannequins, and we are moving to an interactive platform. We have a great technology, IP protection in place, and a platform, and a team consisting of technologists, research and development specialists, entrepreneurs, and finance, with 40 years of experience. And finally, an attractive return for the investors with an IRR of 52%, with a target return of 35% for an investment of 500,000. So why do we need something like this? Most are familiar with this picture that we see at a circus. There is complexity, there is variability, and there is a very little margin for error, if any. And nobody wants to hear, this is my first one. So what is ENT offering? It's the first simulator for ear, nose, and throat surgery with the first module for otoscopy. It's interactive, provides feedback to students. It's extensible, and the first version is offered over the cloud, so in order to control digital rights management. That's a brief snapshot of the products that we have planned. Otoscopy, which we are ready with the beta product. Second would be looking at surgical platforms, and as well as for training. So just very quickly, what is otoscopy? This is the procedure that's performed when you go to your general practitioner when any kind of ear infection, and they take this pointed instrument, put it through the ear. The current state-of-the-art practicing techniques are either using a mannequin or atlases. There are some problems with these. They aren't realistic. They don't provide feedback to the user. Are you doing it wrong or right? And it requires perpetual monitoring by an instructor who is normally a practicing surgeon that has better use of their time performing a surgery in the OR. And the number of medical students in our initial target markets are growing at 7% annually. So there is a shortage of trained teachers to teach these students. Very quickly, what's our initial demo of our
please make sure you speak into the board.
So a student can take an exam at their own time. This is a model. The screen is opaque because this is the field of view you would get. They can choose an answer in terms of, what does this look like? So this was performed by a surgeon. So as you can see, there was no force applied. If there was force applied, which can cause damage to the ear canal, then there would be, this graph would show lines on it. So in terms of our platform, there are over 100 procedures that we can simulate through this. We have completed the beta for the first one and started working on the second one. So why is digital technology more required? We've had extensive discussions with the Medical Council of India, and they want to have more trained doctors. how do you have more trained doctors? You need to have them acquire better practical training skills. And in order to do that, you need to change the curriculum. So, in words of Vinay Agarwal, president of the Indian Medical Association, the introduction of new teaching techniques such as simulation and skill labs and smart classrooms will not only save time, but also make learning more fun for students. So very quickly, what are the attributes? We have an IP filed. There are a variety of 3D models that can be simulated through the system. It's realistic. It includes hair, wax, movement that you would actually see through a real ear canal. And there is a whole array of performance metrics that we are showing the student when they are performing. And these images are acquired from 30 years of clinical practice from a surgeon in Canada. So they are realistic models. So as compared to the Mannequin, the Atlas, we have a whole array of features at a relatively inexpensive price of $40 per student that would make it affordable. So how can we sustain our competitive advantage? We have a platform that IP is filed. We will keep filing IP as we develop further. The images are licensed from one of the leading ENT specialists in Canada. The Medical Council of India, as well as other governing bodies for healthcare education, are moving towards more digital technology. And once we've done beta testing at 2 colleges, we can go forward. Very quickly, our customers are private medical colleges and government medical colleges for the training platform. And then for surgical planning, we would open up the market to ENT hospitals and private practitioners too. In terms of numbers, 34,000 students in India enroll into medical education annually, and there are 1,200 registered ENT practitioners. So 2.25 million of the diagnostic module, and surgery at 300 million annually. In terms of how would we go about doing it, having strategic alliances with Atlas publishers, with manufacturers of ENT instruments. Welch Allyn is a leader in the otoscopy space, so that would be our first one to look at. Promotional strategy would be combination of online attending major medical conferences, as well as looking at having blogs, and getting product acceptance in continuous cooperation with Medical Council of India, as well as leading ENT specialists.
Just quickly before you go about the market sides, in terms of the product, in terms of the virtualization or simulation, how does it eventually is going to work? Because you show the picture, but how does it interactivity works?
So the first version is a mouse-based system. So this is, our simple product, get it out, start getting some customer feedback. From our second version onward, we are also developing a haptic arm, which would be a hardware interface, so that it allows the student, while they are looking at the screen.
What's a haptic arm?
So haptic arm, the analogy I'll give is it's like a joystick that people use for playing games, right? So it's a simple hardware device that gives feedback to the student. There are 2 buttons on it. So if they hit, let's say, some kind of a block, for instance, on the ear canal, right, then they would tell them that they've hit that. So we are making it more interactive and simulative.
But you are jumping from a mouse to a haptic arm. Is that a technology?
Not so. The reason we decided on the mouse was because, get a first simple product out there in the market, start getting customer receptivity, and, getting the brand name established. The haptic arm is an existing technology. It's used by others in simulation of, let's say, cardiac procedures, as well as for minimally invasive surgery. Haptics are used right on your BlackBerry also. So it's an established technology. What we are going to develop is a customized haptic arm in partnership with the inventor that can be used with our simulator.
So that's additional cost?
That is additional cost, yes. But we have taken that into account in our financials.
Judge, this is a sample photo of how the haptic arm will look.
So going by the market sizing numbers that JP just told us about, this slide actually tells us the addressable market opportunity for us. So if you look at the numbers, this slide shows for the diagnosis tool, and subsequently we'll describe about the surgical tool as well. So what we're showing here is that we're addressing 2 markets with the diagnosis tool, and both of them are, one of them is government college, the other one is the private colleges. And our growth rate in this segment is going to be beginning 6% in the very first year and growing by a CAGR of 41.3%. This slide describes the surgical tool. We're launching the surgical tool in year 3. And these are the procedures covered with both diagnosis and surgical as well. And once again, our growth rate in market share is going to be 0.13% of the entire market size of 250 million and growing with a CAGR of 61.3%. So what are the investment requires in this venture?
May I ask about the market?
Sure.
Why do you think that why do you think that the medical school will accept this? They may think this is nice, but maybe optional for the student. Why do you think they would take it seriously that every student must use this?
So as part of the medical curriculum, each student has to go through every single body part of education. So for example, if I'm a medical student, I have to study not only the heart, but also the ENT domains of medical study, also the other body parts. So currently what students are using is mannequins and atlases. So this product, the diagnosis tool, and the other tools are actually a value add over either using a mannequin or an atlas. And the other factor which we feel is going to help us out is that the MCI wants to move in the direction of digital education. They want to train more doctors. Their target is to have 1 doctor per 1,000 people living in India. And currently what's happening is that the doctors, they spend their time teaching the students instead of performing surgeries. So there is a clear gap between number of doctors and number of patients in India. And they want to save on time and save on cost in training more doctors. So the MCI wants the entire medical education field to move in a more practical side and move more quickly in that direction.
Just to add, like looking at other industries, right? So aviation industry, does one go and, go drive a real plane and, put other people at risk instead of, that's how simulators have come up. So this model has been adapted in other industries. All we are saying is, okay, how can it be looked? It's been looked at other domains in the medical industry as well. We are looking at the ENT and then let's see where we can take it forward from there.
Are you suggesting that this teaching tool will replace the time that the doctors will be using with the students?
Yes. So what this teaching tool does
So what will be the saving of the doctor's time?
So what happens in this teaching tool is that the examiner can create a test. It can create different simulations for students to practice on. And instead of the surgeons and the doctors spending time in practically telling the students that this is how you do it, this is how you maneuver inside the ear, and this is what you look for, the simulation can help the students learn it without the presence of a doctor. And the doctor can review everything that the students did because it records the video of what the student does. And there is force feedback and different metrics are tested in it, like percentage of inner ear viewed and hair movement, wax movement inside the ear, and everything can be measured using metrics.
Have you incorporated the cost saving by not having to pay that doctor?
So just to give you some numbers idea, right? And we actually have a demo later on at our booth, so you can try the tool and see how it works. So in terms of doctors, right, let's say giving from an Indian perspective, this tool also allows you to actually record the video. So once a student has practiced it, when the doctors have free time, they can view it and provide comments back to the students in terms of how did you perform well. So it's aiding them in their process. Let's say they spend an hour with students. Some of these ear surgeries can be performed in an hour or two. They cost anywhere from 200 to 300,000 Indian rupees. Putting in dollars, looking at about $6,000 in 3 hours. No medical college, I can almost guarantee, in any of the Asian economies would pay these doctors that much for being an practicing instructor.
Can I ask about your forecast of market size? This sort of product, when the medical college buy, they would expect the students to share, right? So I don't know, and one product would last. I don't know how you could increase the market size.
So the first product is a complete online-based version, and that's offered through digital rights. So that's why we'll be offering it over the cloud. And what we are looking at is that, okay, doing a licensing deal, site licensing with a college, right? So let's say, okay, you have ultimately when let's say MCI approves it and it becomes part of the curriculum, we can approach the college and do a site licensing deal with them. So, you have 100 students, you pay us X dollars per student.
Okay.
For the later on versions, for the surgical simulator, we don't expect that each student would need one. There would be about, and that's how we've done our revenue projections, there would be 3 or 4 of them per college. And for the medical practitioners, I'll actually let Aditya talk.
And it is soft